Tailwind to try and help free me. But yeah,
Meldrum,
Bethany didn't like it.
make me a stealth check.
Okay.
He's doing this just so that you are aware. I've got two spells that could potentially cause a big bit of issue for the spiders that we're on. I've got Clouded Daggers and I've got Shatter, which can cause like a large piercing noise for them. So if we wanted to mess this thing up and make it go wild, I could do so. Depending on whether, like you were saying, whether we want to do that before.
This is the point where I will ask you, have they stripped us of all our stuff, including our
Yes.
paraphernalia? So if they need any components, then I'm going to assume that we can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, luckily enough, I can do verbal for both of those.
Oh, nice.
The only other one that I would need specifically motion for is Thunderclap, which is somatic. But those two, I can do Vicious Mockery.
Thunderclap might work here. Badly, but it may work.
Yeah, I don't know when.
Like,
Option.
I
didn't say it's a good option, I said it's an option.
Because the way I will doesn't crack from this.
Technically worked. It technically worked.
It doesn't crack from this, so you're just going to hurt the spider and maybe make it fall.
Yeah.
Which will help
back
Meldrum.
and forward, I'm going to touch a piece of the wood, and I'm going to call Radiant Flame into my hand, but like as weakly as I possibly can, and I'm just going to like touch the wood and see if it burns it.
No. It does singe and blacken it, but it doesn't see. You wipe the. You're able to wipe the black patch away. Actually, you've seen. Oh yeah, you came across that that elven salesman, didn't you? Yeah, this is Iron Oak.
Right. From my knowledge, my limited knowledge of Iron Oak, do I know if it is resistant to radiant magic or all types of magic? Like, could we break this? I know it's hard to deal with for normies, but we are superhumans. So
make me an Arcana check or a survival check.
I will use survival because I'm better at that.
You could maybe make a history because you have explained it before.
Yeah, Meldrum, you
25.
You managed to start tearing in rhythm to basically the spider walking. So you start ripping bits of the material just to let you know that's what that was for. 25. Because it's a survival check. Going through the normal things, says there's only certain creatures who can work the wood and all that and blah blah blah. Says, but the thing is, folk do work the wood, and it is through magical means. Whatever those magical means are. 25 is really good though. It'd be better if it was Arcana, basically. But you do know, that it is susceptible to some things. So whatever creatures manage to work the wood will have. You can theorize it might be it might be a specific skill, it might be something, you just can't put your finger on it. But 9 times out of 10, any damage you do to it is usually it's really hard to break through unless it's smaller bits of iron oak. But this is full iron oak cage. It would be something that damage won't be able to do to it. But if you were to have the type of magic spell or magic to work it, it'd be a different story.
Shatter seems like the most likely thing. So, just because of the kind of nature of how Shatter works, I'm tempted just to start shooting at trees. Just like, does this do any damage? And see what happens. But I also don't want to give the game away that I can do things. So I'm like,
Well, remember, your hands, like everybody else's, are wrapped in rope and you're shackled. So. Which I should have mentioned when you done the light thing. Yeah. Anyhow. So a couple hours pass, and then it starts to get a little bit darker. And then you are met with who best is probably one of the most amazing sights you've ever seen in your life. So as the spiders start coming down, and it's very, very dark now. There's few lights. Any light sources are coming up from on top of the spider's armor. Which is pretty normal. They wouldn't have lights down below, but from below you see this light, and then you see another couple of lights, and then they start to come up, start to rise towards you as you're almost surrounded in almost a sea of these lights. It's very neon blue, neon green, neon pinks as they start to just rise up from what you would see just below the canopy floor as it starts to rise up. And it starts to give you that kind of very greeny, bluey, pinkish hue on everything. And it just makes the world, it just makes the below the canopy just seem a little bit more unearthly, but in a more comfortable light. It's almost like, of all the things you've seen down here, and of all your travels, you've recently been traveling, and all the things you've all seen, even including Ronan and Nyla at this point, this is a quite a comfortable respite from danger, from everything that's happened, from even current deaths. It's almost, it would almost fill and soothe the soul if it wasn't for the fact of the situation you're in. And as these lights start to come up, if I make a perception check, if you want to see.
I'll tell you one thing, Richard has not asked me to
23.
roll anything that's not been like some form of high roll for me in general.
I
Like,
rolled my first natural 20 on my dice.
Nice.
Sorry, Scott.
No, it's fine. I was gonna say it's like as in tell like the Constitution check that he asked for that was like at advantage. I
Yeah.
also had that as my highest saving throw. Like I have been rolling awfully tonight.
Yeah,
I
it was,
rolled an
it was,
18.
At least my perception was okay.
and you got a nat 20 for total of
23.
nice. Yeah, okay. Ronan, you don't take particularly to notice. You've been down here before. You've seen this maybe once or twice before. You've been down here up to almost a month, so it doesn't really take your interest. Everyone else, though, this is glorious. This is nothing you've ever seen. And as the lights start to come out, they're not exactly lights. They're almost 2 foot by 2 foot diameter fluff balls for probably the best interest. It's just as they start to come up and all, it just kind of bounce almost like helium balloons just against everything. Some of them stick to the spider, some of them stick to the cage, or they try to stick to the cage as they bounce away. And you can see little sparks of energy and lights and magic just forming around, which is giving them off these neon colours of different things. Gaz, Melgrom, and Ralph. Could you, if you want to know more, if you can certainly give us a history check if you would like. But they're basically like dust bunnies, dust balls.
History check, you said, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
especially because you're a reader.
13.
Right. Melgrom, anything you need to know about being below here is going to be something that kills you. You've never seen or read anything about this.
I'm
so you don't
assuming
need
that
to know.
this thing's trying to like eat us with magic or
Yeah,
something.
It's not even that. You know, if you
It's
haven't
like
read about
drawing
it,
me in.
if you haven't read about it, it's probably safe. So you don't need to worry about it.
I think maybe
You've
this
not
should
read a
be...
lot of. Yeah, you've not
Okay,
read a
if
lot
I
about.
think it's safe,
Lee.
I'm going to try and reach out and pet one of them.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Lee, you've not read much below the canopy. A lot of your books has been above the canopy because it's not worth really traveling. Gaz, however, as you're looking along, you feel a familiar voice in the back of your head as it comes. Oh my God! I remember
What?
this. This was quite a soothing moment, if my recalls. It was wonderful. It was a time I actually felt like life was actually worth living. It's funny that it's these kind of things I miss. And the voice starts to breathe and says, I can't actually remember the name for them, or if the fact they had any names for that matter, but they're interesting. It's one of the few beauties and one of the few things I actually enjoyed about being below the canopy.
Isn't this something that Mum spoke about before I left. She spoke about things in the canopy that were horrifying and dangerous, but also beautiful.
Oh, gods, no. I'm pretty sure your mother never met anything like this. However, almost makes you feel human, doesn't it?
I mean, it's not an unusual feeling for me.
And there's no reply after that. Melgrim, you touch one. Your finger goes numb. However, it kind of sticks to you a little bit. It's almost like an electrical charge. Just kind of feels the
Electrical charge?
magnetizing from it, and it's just it's almost a little bit. And it's a case of you go,
I'm gonna try and rub my shackles against it to see if it will like say anything to it, since it's using.
As soon as you put the metal towards it, it just floats off. But these give you a kind of respite of really nice light, and really it kind of makes you think, as what Gaz Patron said, that though you would never hear it, it says it kind of soothes the soul and it makes you feel a little bit better, knowing that, well, it's maybe not all bad down here, considering the fact the situation you're in.
Leave your eyes of 10 million glowing lights.
Do creatures eat these? Are these like jellyfish that don't get eaten, or are these like are these like
Is this a
not
GM question?
Yeah.
Explain the
again,
biology of these creatures, please.
Again, okay, that's just cool. From the perception checks that you've got, it says, like I say, these are 2 foot, basically 2 foot spheres of diameter. A lot of, it's almost like fur, it's almost like dust, it's almost like hair. Again, very, very light to the touch, as Melgrim will know. It's almost like helium balloons. And with all the magic that comes around within them, is giving off the neon lights.
I know it's
they
not, but it's just giving
Yeah.
me dead light vibes.
Yeah, they don't seem to. They don't. It doesn't seem to be threatening, and doesn't seem to be doing anything in particular, or have any use from what you can tell. Again, there's not anything written, and as your patron said, guys, it says there's not a name for it, because 9 times out of 10, anyone comes down here is killed, and anyone that does live down here probably have their own name for it. So this is technically a nameless creature. You're not even sure it is a creature, and you don't even know what it came from or anything about the habits about it. But it just is. And from that moment of that realization, it just is. It seems to be a very complicated ecosystem down here, and it's the ones that you just surely can't comprehend. And he just goes to prove that it's not everything is totally bad down here.
See if I've been out down here before, would I know what the place is and what these wee things are?
Again, no. You've came across them a couple of times, and you know them as respite. You know them as lights. Lights aren't a bad thing, especially down here.
I'll shout over to the guys. Hey! I don't think these things have a name!
What do you want to call them then?
Can I call them something?
Yes!
What?
For it!
Flip flumps.
I like flip flops is actually pretty good, but I like puff balls or puff lights or
meeps.
meeps is also pretty
Meeps.
good.
Don't do that to me, Meeps.
Meep meep.
Well, we
That's
lasses,
why I like these things. Is there one near me? Can I reach out and
I
take?
like
No, I can't because my hands are bound. I keep forgetting my hands are bound.
Yeah.
I have claws. What exactly is binding my hands?
It's rope. It's
Right, so-
rope tied tight round your hands like that. So even though you've got
Maybe.
claws, your fingers are probably intertwined.
It'll be
to a
like that.
point.
Right, I
Because
could
you're
start
claws.
if I could maybe start worrying away, kind of giving it this kind of action, just
Yes.
digging in.
Is the same silk. Okay, Steph. Yeah, well, let's call them Meeps.